Hello everybody and welcome along to part 3 if you like. Somebody suggested during the week maybe we should title this The Rebel Wide Ball, so we'll stay with that for a while. But prior to any look back or looking forward at sporting events which may have happened or will happen this weekend, I suppose a few words about the happenings in the nation. Earlier in the week we had the decision by the government to impose a few restrictions, if you like, to try and curb the rising number of COVID cases throughout the country. I suppose there was a lot of consternation among the older fraternity in particular, and those that have underlying health issues that more or less they have been confined to barracks once again. Then you had the, I suppose, the decision to ensure that there would be no spectators at matches, that all sporting events would take place behind closed doors, and this caused a lot of umbrage, particularly to the GAA fraternities, to such an extent that the Suits of Crow Park decided that they should call in Dr. Ronan Glynn, the acting chief medical officer, to explain the rationale behind his decision. It did remind me, if you like, of the Brendan Grace after dinner speech, the father of the bride speech, where he suggested that the chef should come out from his kitchen and explain to the assembled masses his alleged poor effort at cooking what was at their disposal. Now, I'm not sure whether Dr. Ronan ever met the GAA boys or whether he ever will or not, but things have moved on in the political sphere since then, and we had that famous gathering in West Galway, a golf dinner. I don't know whether you've ever been invited to one, whether you've ever been at one. I certainly haven't received an invitation. Some those that have will tell you that a wake would be more enjoyable and more interesting than these particular gatherings. But my God, those guys that turned up there, and ladies, I presume as well, I must check that, they probably regret now big time. I mean, it beggared belief that 24 hours was it after restrictions were imposed on gatherings indoor, that these guys decided that they should meet up. And my God, there are some serious hitters. They obviously believe, some of them, that they're operating at a different level to the rest of the subjects in this country. And looking at the place arrangements, the seating arrangements, if you wish, I noticed there was a former Minister for Education, Noel Dempsey, who caused a fair bit of grief when he was in charge of the Montouris and the Skull in this country. So I don't think there'd be a huge amount of sympathy for him. The Moroccan ambassador, obviously I'm not in the know. I don't know any Moroccan, not a mind Moroccan ambassador, as to what he was doing there, what he'd have common with the gathering, but maybe he is quite a lot. A Chief Justice, a number of politicians, and a big Phil, of course. Phil Hogan was there, who alleges that, you know, he was quite within his rights and he did nothing wrong. But it has there's been a bit of a fallout. That earlier today we had Derek Leary, a man who a couple of weeks ago was absolutely outraged by the fact that he wasn't appointed a minister. He had to resign as Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine. And then, of course, you had the Bishopstown GM man, Jerry Butterman, having to resign from his position of Lasca Hirlock of Shannon. I'd imagine at this stage that Michael D. Higgins must be dreading a knock at the front door for fear there'd be another Lachico turn up with a pair of unused Wellingtons to hand them back. 2 ministers for agriculture in 55 days is probably a bit of a unique record for any country, let alone this one. And of course we had the whole crack with schools is still ongoing, and whereas huge efforts are being made by school managements and the whole school community to ensure the schools will be in somewhat of readiness to open up. And I know from visiting one or two of them that they've huge efforts have been made. But the Minister for Education, Norma Foley, who was, she's a rookie appointed to this job, was strangely absent, nowhere to be found, by the way, during the week. But my God, she turned up this morning when she was looking for about 1,500 extra buses to transport the pupils to second level schools, and where these buses are going to come from is beyond comprehension. I mean, I presume that some of you, particularly those of you that live in rural Ireland, have an occasion travel behind school buses, and my God, you often wonder how they reach the top of the hill, and not to mention the massive air conditioning that would be present. But no, with the new decision that they can only be half full or half empty, they must find $1,500. Maybe they'd be advised to contract some of those agriculture contractors. They have, if you watch their gear, their trailers in particular are fairly well developed in terms of cubic capacity. Maybe there was a little bit of seating planked into them that they could serve the purpose of transporting the pupil of the nations to schools. And for those who kind of been following school buses over the past number of years, they have difficulty with the present fleet of buses to get children to school, let alone this one. So whereas Norma was missing earlier on, she's back big time now. Yeah, they're the happenings in the I don't know what you call it, the political or the humorous side of our society. I'm not so sure. But anyway, in terms of sport, the week was a little bit unique. You had St. Finbarr's GAA club taking a big decision. Well, I suppose it was precipitated by the announcement that Aidan Fitzpatrick, the manager of the senior hurling team, had decided to step down, possibly influenced by the fact that they were well beaten in their 2 matches thus far against Glen Rovers and the Piercy, and the fact that they are now facing relegation, and the match next week against Carricktool is going to be a big game for St. Finbarr's, probably as big as any they've played in the past in an effort to avoid relegation. So the club president is now back in action. That's John Crim, and Ger Cunningham and others will be assisting and hoping they can get over the line in that one. And then during the week as well, we had the this competition, or these competitions that are commonly known as the colleges and the divisional competitions. And basically the aim of those, well, maybe there's a number of aims, but to provide a team in each court to get to the quarter final of the Premier Senior Hurling and Senior Football competition. In the football, first of all, I suppose we have to start with the disappointing news that the Beara division, for the very first time in their life, first time I would imagine their existence, failed to field a team in at senior level. And I suppose it's kind of understandable. They've had difficulties in that division over the past while, falling populations, falling numbers. I mean, there's only 5 clubs there. Castonbrea play at Premier Intermediate level, Adrigole at Intermediate A, and then you've only 1 junior club, Urn, Garnish and Glengariff at Junior B. So playing population is, being greatly diminished now. Maybe there are other issues at play, I don't know. But anyways, disappointing that they couldn't field a team for their match against Duhallow. In the other semi-final of that competition, UCC, as expected, got over Carbery. So that means that on this Sunday night in Glantan at 7 o'clock, UCC faced Duhallow. I'm not too sure how that one is going to go, insofar as that, Duhallow would have good players, and, Duhallow players in the past take huge pride in wearing that particular jersey. So if they get over that one, they will be into the quarter-final of the Cork Premier Senior Football competition. In hurling, UCC defeated Duhallow, and, Duhallow fielding a hurling team when other team, maybe other divisions weren't able to do so, says a little bit about their particular pride in their division. And as a consequence of that victory, UCC will play Imokilly, that game in Porcurine, also at the same time on Sunday, 7 o'clock. And Imokilly, of course, who have lost a number of players from last year's county championship winning side, will be the favourite, I'd imagine. And if they qualify, and if UCC qualify, sure, they'll be a good side as well. They'll pose serious opposition for some of the teams in the for a team in the Premier Senior Hurling quarter final. And away from that, if you like, to what's happening this weekend, and there is some GAA action at divisional level, but the county board competitions are on a bit of a break until next weekend's awesome round 3 in the hurling. But that doesn't mean that they're in action on the GAA fields, and indeed there is. And the Camogie Association in Cork and the Ladies Football, 2 organisations that do unbelievable work in the promotion of their games. And these organisations are so small in terms of personnel compared to, we'll say, the GAA bodies, that the people that keep it going deserve, I suppose my pious platitudes is not much good to them, but they're incredible people. So in this weekend's in the SE Systems Senior Camogie there, they have 4 round 3 games down for decision, and the winners here will go into the quarterfinals of the championship. And some of these games are being live streamed. The Glen Rovers game and the SARS games are being live streamed. So look, they've adopted that, and I'd imagine that a lot of people would be interested. Sars play Douglas. Sars are the county champions. All of these games go on in Castle Road, and isn't it a serious credit to them that they have their own pitch in Castle Road, and a lot of their huge number of their championship matches are played down there. So that game goes on Saturday. The other 3 games will go on Sunday. The Saturday game is a 3 o'clock throw-in, and whereas Sars are the champions, the word is that the Douglas team are really playing well this year, and the fact that they have their county players all back and being able to give all to their club, maybe there could be a bit of a surprise there. Ballygavin and Killa, you'd have to fancy Killa. They have a number of county players. Ballygavin, maybe, great team in the past, and that's not a good team or great team now, but I just have a fine slight fancy for Killa in that one. Then you have the city derby between Glen Rovers and Shandoon, and that Shandoon team, they will have a number of clubs playing. If you look down through the intermediate, the junior, A, B and C, there's quite a number of city clubs. Amy O'Connor, whether she's St. Vincent's player, and